You're watching Taboo Tea with Katie, a space created to encourage honest exploration of topics we often avoid, whether with ourselves, our family, or within our community. This space isn't a replacement for therapy, but it is a tool for learning, reflection, and growth. My prayer is that you'll walk away with a clearer understanding of yourself, feel seen and supported, and leave with practical strategies to help you navigate whatever season you're in. Welcome to another episode of Taboo Tea. Let's get into it. Now, today we're talking about selfishness. Yep, that dirty little word that makes everybody clutch their pearls. The one that makes you second guess saying no, taking a break, or prioritizing your peace. At some point, we made selfish sound like sin, when it can actually be self-respect or good stewardship, and is required to keep our sanity. Now, if you grew up anything like me, then you probably remember being called selfish for not caring, for wanting alone time, or for saying that you don't want to do something. And now as an adult, many of us are out here burnt out, bitter, and boundaryless because we're still trying not to be that selfish kid. And to make sure that we're on the same page, selfish is defined as having concern for one's own interests or well-being. But over time, culture has twisted that to mean not caring about others. In reality, there's a difference between self-centeredness, which means disregarding others completely, and self-preservation, which means taking care of yourself so that you can show up better. We've been trained over time to believe that taking care of ourselves is somehow hurting others. But it's not selfish to refill your own cup. It's wise. This fear of being selfish often comes from guilt conditioning, especially for women, people of color, or those raised in religious or collectivist families. Many of us learned love through sacrifice, not through mutual care. And so when we choose ourselves, it triggers old beliefs like I'm ungrateful, or I'm abandoning people, I'm not doing enough. And what starts as guilt eventually hardens into a pattern, one where your value feels tied to how much you can do or give. And psychologically, that's where the shame and codependency start to take root. And if we're being honest, that's the real trap. Because when your identity is built on what you do for others, you'll keep pouring even when your cup is bone dry. You'll confuse exhaustion with purpose and burnout with love. But the truth is, God never asked us to earn our worth from people. Scripture actually paints a very different picture, one that reminds us that love starts with alignment, not depletion. Mark 12:31 says, love your neighbor as yourself. Notice it says yourself, meaning self-love is the standard, not the enemy. Even Jesus rested. He withdrew to quiet places. He said no to crowds. He protected his peace to stay in alignment with his purpose. And if Jesus needed a nap and boundaries, why do we think we have to earn ours? But since this is an honest space, I know that living this out isn't easy, because it's one thing to know that you're supposed to love yourself, and another thing completely to feel like you're allowed to, especially when you spent years being rewarded for putting yourself last. For so many of us, selfless became our safety. It kept the peace, it kept people pleased, it made us feel needed, but somewhere in that mix, we lost ourselves. We forgot what it feels like to do something just because it honors us, not because it earns us points with someone else. And I've been there, running on empty and calling it faith, calling it loyalty, calling it love, when really it was fear. Fear of being replaced, fear of being misunderstood, fear of being called selfish. But here's the truth. Sometimes the version of you that everyone loves is the one that's slowly breaking. And healing means letting that version of you rest and giving the real you permission to rise. the one who's able to say no without guilt, pause without panic, the one who knows that peace isn't something you find in people, it's something you protect within yourself. And that's not selfish. Honestly, that's freedom. So before you rush past this moment, I want you to take a breath and ask yourself a few honest questions. When did you first learn that putting yourself first was wrong? Who benefits from you believing that? And what would your life look like if you stopped apologizing for needing rest, space, and support? Now, I get it. It's one thing to see this pattern, but it's another to start living differently. And this is where grace steps in and where we can trade our guilt for growth, because you can love people deeply and still not make yourself disposable. God never asked you to be everything for everyone. He asked you to be faithful with what He's given, including your body, your mind, and your peace. And that means learning to pour from overflow and not depletion. Realigning with God isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming present. It's slowing down long enough to ask, is this still serving what God called me to? And if the answer is no, then it might be time to release it. And here's a couple of ways that you can do that. 1, replace I'm selfish for wanting this with I'm stewarding what God entrusted to me. You're not withholding, you're managing your energy wisely. 2, move from guilt to gratitude. Thank God for giving you the discernment to say no when necessary and yes when it's purposeful. Remember, boundaries aren't rebellion, they're obedience. Pause before you say yes. Slow down and check your motives. Ask yourself, am I doing this from a place of love or am I doing this from a place of fear? And then schedule rest. Make time to rest before you crash out, not after. Don't wait until you're drained to slow down. Your body and spirit deserve care before the breakdown. Remind yourself of your peace. Every time you protect your energy in this way or you say no, I want you to remind yourself this is what growth feels like. And then last but certainly not least, pray for alignment, not approval. Ask God to help you stand firm in your boundaries, to strengthen your no, and to bring clarity to your yes. Remember, healing with God doesn't start with doing more. It starts with trusting that you are already enough. So your mission is going to be simple. We're going to stop apologizing for being human. You're not required to shrink to keep the peace, to stretch yourself to prove your worth, or to keep showing up for what drains you. Choosing yourself doesn't make you selfish. It makes you a good steward of the life God gave you. So take a breath, slow your pace, and remind yourself, I don't have to do it all to be loved. I just have to be honest about what I can give. That's growth. That's freedom. And that's a version of you that God's been waiting to see. Now, if you want to go a little bit deeper, then you can sit with this question. Where in my life have I been calling self-preservation selfish? Think about the spaces, relationships, or responsibilities that make you feel guilty for protecting your peace, and ask yourself if that's guilt or is that guidance? And then practice one intentional pause this week. Before you say yes to something, stop and check in with yourself. Ask yourself, is this love leading me or fear? If it is fear, give yourself permission to say no without explanation and without apology. Guilt can be there, but it just has to come with you. And each night, affirm, rest is how I honored what God made. This will remind you that your peace doesn't make you difficult. It means you respect what keeps you whole. Remember, alignment will always cost you approval, but your peace will pay you back every single time. Thank you for watching. Look, I know growth is messy, but healing is holy and the tea is always truthful. So go ahead and stir it up in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe so you don't miss the next pour. And remember to keep your peace petty and your healing holy.